Hey everyone, Sean Corbett here, TruWest Realty Group, EXP. We're doing our weekly Tuesday meeting. I've got a special meeting today. We're going to be talking about a new EXP referral program that they've rolled out. There's a few of you that would really look at and benefit from this option. A few at the top of my head would be someone that just wants to have a license, park it, minimize their cost every year, paying those association fees, paying those MLS dues, covering all those costs. We can eliminate all of that, and you can continue to keep a license and still refer business out and get paid referral percentage because you're still a licensed agent. It's those investors that just get a license for the purpose of buying property. They will allow you to represent yourself and get the benefit of being a part of your own transaction, and should be your LLC as well. Either one, as long as you show ownership of it. And then a third clever option is just those that really want to build and focus on the rev share model that we do have, because we get paid very well on any agent that we attract. So I'm going to cover it real high on a high level. I want to ask any of you on this call, if any of you even heard about this program yet, the EXP referral program. Okay, this is not just referring a deal in workplace. This is not just I'm in the North Texas, I'm going to refer something to someone else. This is a full-fledged separate type of status that you can park your license. So no one on this call has heard about the EXP referral program.
The only thing I know, Sean, is there are Texas referral groups, the workforce program thing that we have that's affiliated through Facebook. And even though I haven't gotten a referral yet, I've had opportunities where there was a possible client coming down from Minnesota, but he backed out. So that's the only thing I know, Sean.
Sure. Yeah, we've had some success. I know Shane specifically sold one in Denton on a referral that I saw captured and then sent over to Shane at the time. I think it was Little Elm, something like that, because he lives in Little Elm, and he actually closed one transaction through that. That's actually not what I'm referring to. Anybody can do that with regular active traditional EXP status. So what this is, it's a new status option for all licensed and active real estate agents in EXP. So you just have to be at EXP and you are eligible to sign up for this. Okay. And be a part of this program. It will deactivate you from traditional real estate license active status. Okay. It will move you into this program. Since agents are still licensed and active, they're eligible to collect referral commissions, right? That's a requirement for any licensed agent generally anywhere in the US for sure. Sorry, my window just came in and started blinding me out. Technical difficulties. There we go. Better. Since you do have an active license, that is a requirement for anywhere in where we do practice real estate. You have to have an active license in order to be eligible. You have to be either a principal or an active license. This still keeps that. You can still get paid referrals. So very clever option they're setting up. So what they've done is they've set up something called an EXP referral division, and they've put it under EXP commercial. And the reason why they put it under EXP commercial is because I wouldn't call it the Wild West, but it has a lot less restriction on how we operate in our licensee. And it allows them to not require you to be a member of an association. It doesn't have any of the same requirements that us as residential agents have. So they put it under EXP commercial just to park that particular status. Okay. You're not selling commercial. You're not doing anything in commercial. It's just a way for them to detach you from being a member of associations. It can be set up and updated quickly as an independent, since it is an independent division. So this allows them to make changes so understand, like in real estate, most of the people that we look at as competition, a lot of them are set up in this franchise model. And the franchise model only allows them to make decisions within that own franchise, and they all have to kind of agree if they make any type of national changes. Here, we can flip a switch and make a change for every single EXP referral agent out there to make sure everything is consistent and everyone's on the same playing field. And we can do it quickly and fast. This literally rolled out like a month and a half ago, and they're still in the beginning phases of setting up a lot of some of the back end type things for it. But it's really just a matter of setting up your active license through it. There's no requirement or ties to MLS or realtor associations. Those are all gone. You have no more dues, no more MLS, that you lose your MLS, but you no longer have the expense associated with it. You no longer have the expense associated with having a Supra. All that's gone as well. Agents are not able to represent, act as an agent, show properties, complete leases, or engage in any real estate activities for which a license is required for either residential or commercial. I mentioned the exception would be anything for yourself. Okay, so that's really kind of where they can separate and draw the line. What are the differences from the traditional EXP agent agreement? So everyone on here has signed an ICA, an independent contractor agreement with EXP. So I'm going to go over some of the obvious differences. This isn't exhaustive. This isn't detailed. It's meant to give you a quick high-level view of how this is set up. The program, first and foremost, is $50 a month. Okay, $600 a year. You can park and activate your license. The traditional EXP is $85 a month. It gives you access to everything. But then, of course, you have to do what you got to do to keep your license active, including being members of associations in order to keep it that active status. There are no mentor programs available, including acting as a mentor. If you're a mentor, you lose that. You lose all your mentees. If you're a mentee, there's obviously no reason for production. You don't have to meet any type of production goals. Okay. There is no cap. There's no ability to icon either. Okay. So you would just indefinitely have a referral split with whoever and however you set it up. And then EXP would continue to capture their part. You no longer have access to KV Core. You're going to lose that. You're not managing and keeping up with clients any longer. And then you'll still have access to EXP World Workplace SkySlope. I'm not sure why. I read the documentation. It says you have access to SkySlope. But if you don't have, I guess because you might have transactions from the past, maybe. But you still have access to SkySlope, My EXP, and then
sorry, for SkySlope to track your referrals.
Oh, I guess that's true. Yeah, I was thinking of My EXP because I don't get into SkySlope. Jenny does, so I don't even. But I can see that's probably where you enter the CDAs and the commission disclosures and the any type of referral agreement. So yeah, you're right. The SkySlope would help you keep up with that. My EXP and then EXP University. You still have all of that. The only one I can really focus in on is KV Core. You wouldn't have much need for that. And that's an expensive product that EXP gives to all of the agents. So they're going to withhold that license. You all keep access to the same network of EXP partners, including health insurance. I know some of you are on it. I have the health insurance through EXP. So you still have access to a lot of those same benefits you had before. Any questions on some of the differences?
I'm sorry, the insurance was still included or not?
You're
Wow.
eligible to continue to have health insurance with EXP. You don't lose that benefit.
Okay, thank you.
Sure. What did you say, Nikki?
Yeah, I have a question. I had a mentee, whenever I followed up with her, she said that it was just, she had to go back to work, I guess. So she's just hanging her license at EXP. So if she's already active with EXP, could she still reap these benefits?
She is who I'm talking to.
Okay, I'll let her know.
Yeah. So I'm going to kind of clean it up. You'll have something you can show, and then there's some documentation you can share as well. What is it? How is it the same as the EXP agent agreement? So we have our original agreement. There are a lot of things that are still the same. Rev share is still in full benefit. Okay. You still are eligible for the full benefits of rev share. Anything you had in rev share, if you decide I'm not going to sell anymore, I'm going to move over to this status, the referral status, you still get continued income from rev share. So this is really good for attraction focused agents as an option, and you can continue to build and attract your rev share team. If that's your only focus, this is a really good option. $50 a month. Don't have to pay association fees, no MLS, no Supra, none of that stuff, no insurance. Well, you don't have to pay E&O anyway, and only unless you close transactions, right? That's how you pay E&O with us. Stock. So any stock earned prior to moving will carry over. Okay. So that's important to know, right? Because there's a escalation in stock. Some of it, when you bring in attract agents, they give you a little bit up front, you get the rest of it at the end, or some of it you don't get until 3 years. So you can continue that waiting period while your stock is continuing to, what do you call it? Come due. I forget what the term they use it, until your stock comes due.
Is it vesting?
Yeah, there you go. You're vesting. Once you fully vest at that period of time, you can just park it in the status and it'll continue to wait until vesting. Any stock you continue to earn with rev share. So rev share, as you bring in agents, you also get opportunities to earn additional stock as well. So you can continue to build stock, which is a really cool benefit. Agency. So the main thing is you're eligible to represent yourself, but keep in mind, you don't have MLS, you don't have Supra. The only thing you're really doing is putting an agreement or contract together with you representing yourself without all the information. So if you are able and understand how to do that, then you can do that. Okay. That includes using a 1-to-4, because you can use a 1-to-4 contract. Let me rephrase that. You have to be a member of the association to use. You can use TREC promulgated forms, which is the 1-to-4. TAR, you cannot use anything from TAR. Just as a differentiation, you can't use TAR contracts. And I'm saying this pretty loosely, like I'm not an attorney. I'm wondering, like, you representing yourself, I guess you could probably use whatever you want to use as long as you're not representing someone else, right? I guess it's really open-ended because you're not representing anyone else. But you can certainly use anything from TREC since they're the one that issued your license. You can join the EXP referral in a secondary licensee state. Some of you have multiple licenses. I know James is on. He's got a license in Louisiana. I'm sure he'd love to drop that and make that a referral option. So that's something he might want to look at, is just doing a referral only license in the state of Louisiana without the cost of paying for continuing ed and all the others, or the association costs. You have to do continuing ed is the minimum you do have to do, because to keep an active license, you have to make sure your education's up. Okay. Production, there are no requirements for production. So you don't have to worry about that. Joining the EXP referral. So how do you join? Really, it's pretty simple. So it's still new and it's really under commercial. The advice on the information page just says contact your state broker. So you guys go into the EXP world, go into the state broker room, and then talk to them. It's actually under the commercial agent. They're the ones that have either the form or whatever you need to fill out a new independent contractor agreement if you choose to go into this status. Okay. Any of you in production, this does not relate to you. This is really more for informational purposes for those that fit in some of these categories that are not in active production. Okay. Any questions so far? Any more questions?
Is there an expiration for, as far as, I guess the expiration would be the renewal of your license? For the license?
Yeah, your license is driving you staying active with them. It's $50 a month indefinitely, unless they change the rates at some point, but it's $50 a month and you just have a ongoing active license. And that's it. You just have to maintain that, which includes continuing ed, SAEs. You have to take care of those things, which I think most of us can find pretty cheap. They look hard.
Can you like change back and forth between them if necessary? Like if you want to hang up your license for a year or two and then go back to production?
They don't have any type of requirement for either, as far as like how long you stay, how long you can move. I don't see anything yet, right? I don't see any, like, you got to stay here for 6 months. I don't have any documentation that says that. I doubt they do, but keep in mind, you're resetting and setting up a lot of things in order to make yourself active, right? Because you've got to get all of your MLS, all of your associations set up, all that Supra, you got to get all that coordinated again. Then you're ready to sell real estate again. and you're selling your real estate for a reason. So at the point you're ready to, get out of that part of the business, you want to go back to inactive referral, or not inactive, but active without selling status, you're deactivating all those things again. So I think it's a lot of work. I don't have anything in here that says there's any type of period of time that you have to be a member of either before you can change status again. Okay. What else do we have? All right, so I want to cover the pros and cons of setting up this referral type program. There's really there's three target people that I see. I always have a habit of kind of looking at things and bringing it down to a more practical level that we can make sense of and work with. And the three type of categories that I see are investors that are looking to purchase property for themselves, anyone looking to grow their rev share teams exclusively without having any reason to be in production. And then the third is really taking advantage of that referral option and just parking their license is really kind of where I see the third. I've had a number over the last few years. I've had a number of you kind of come and get to a point like either you can't sell real estate or you need you're just not ready to do it. And I've had a number of them just suspend it. I mean, at this point, they didn't have this option available for them, but now they do. Now they don't have to just give up their real estate license. They can keep it active, at a really low cost. So I think that third option is really where most of you can kind of relate to. And it just could be personal things going on at home. It could be just, you just need to take a break. I mean, it could be for a lot of different reasons. So here's the pros that I'm seeing. You keep an active real estate license for $600 a year plus continuing ed. I'm going to share a quick story. This is actually kind of maybe a relatable for some of you. Whenever I had the opportunity at a company I was working at, back in early 2000s. They were a home builder. They're building these $1 million houses, and I offered to them, I'm willing to get a real estate license, get my real estate broker license, and I'll sell your houses at little to no cost if you'll cover all of my expenses to hold the license. Okay. I made that offer. That's actually how I got into real estate. And they agreed. We got it set up. I got my license, and I had no interest in parking it under a broker that was going to take, either a big cut or was going to ask for a lot of expenses when I didn't need any of it, because I wasn't really planning to actively do real estate at that time. So I met a guy, his name's Rick Ellis. Rick Ellis owned a apartment locating business. And most of you probably know, in order to do apartment locating, you actually have to have an active license. So he said, hey, I've got people here. And I met him at a Starbucks. He was always at Starbucks. I mean, he was running all these businesses, but one of them was that one. And he has he's 40, 50 apartment locating people. And he said, if you're interested, you can park your license with me. I don't require association, because there's no reason to be a part of any realtor association in order for you to use my database and find apartments for people, or you can not do anything and just park it. And I thought about it, I was like, well, that's perfect, because I don't have any reason to be doing any active real estate. I didn't need the MLS at the time. I didn't need super access. I didn't need any of these things. So I parked my license for, at that time, probably about 3 years. I only needed 2, but I parked it with him for 3 years. And then it got me almost all the way up to the point where I could take my remaining education and then apply and take the broker test. This is back in early 2000s. So I was able to take my broker test without points or systems or anything. So I did, and it allowed me to keep my license super cheap for that period of time. So it worked for me. At the time I was going through and getting all this set up, I was able to park it with someone that was not a member of associations. Okay, so let's go over the pros. $600 a year. You just have to do your continuing ed to keep your license active. You're paid on referrals anywhere EXP agents sell real estate. That's really critical, right? We don't just sell real estate here in Texas or even the US. We have a lot of other countries. If you're connected in other countries, you can refer them to an EXP agent and work out some type of split. that you can't do that for any other company that I know of. And we're growing in that regard. Focus exclusively on building a successful rev share team if that's your focus, without the additional costs of holding a license. So this minimizes your costs. Holding a license allows you to continue to focus on that. And you stay on with EXP with no requirements, no minimums, no responsibilities, and a very low cost. I know that's an option for some of you for that referral-based option. The cons, you're no longer eligible to transact real estate services or activities on behalf of other clients, and you lose MLS. Some of you, that's a real kind of critical touching point for you. And then the showing ability, you're going to lose those services. All right. Any remaining questions that you guys have for the EXP referral agent option?
I just have one other question. So like on the Trek website, so would you be, I guess you wouldn't be listed as a licensed agent? You
You're
said
a licensed salesperson or real estate broker, I think is really only like the two options.
Gotcha.
That doesn't change.
Okay, so that still stays active on that website.
And it should stay. Now, my EXP depends on how they set it up. You may not have the same broker. They might shift you somewhere. I don't know, but you're still going to be licensed. You have to have an attached broker of record you're attached to. EXP will hold the license. All that stays the same. So if
But
anybody picks you up,
You
you
did
look at it.
recommend getting a LLC though.
Well, that's if you don't have any additional liability or even responsibility. So having an LLC is up to you. If you decide you want to use this for the purpose of investing, then
Okay.
that's a different question.
Yeah, I mean, with all the off market that I do, then it probably would make sense to I was thinking about doing it anyways, but I mean, I appreciate this offer because as you know, I called you, what was it last week and said, hey, I'm going to need to hang my license for a while with all the, medical and personal stuff that I'm going through right now. So I think this will work perfect for the time being.
It is. It's a good option for someone in your situation. You certainly are not going to be leaving real estate, but you can't actively work buyers and sellers for some of the stuff you're doing. This could be a good option for you.
Perfect. I appreciate it.
Sure. You there, James? You're kind of in a unique position because you're in 2 states.
Yeah, I'm actually going back and forth on what I want to do with my Louisiana license now. Because I mean, I've been, never shy of words of how I feel about that one. But it looks like a good option to do because about 2 weeks before I gotta finish up all of this CE for over there. So it looks like something that I would be interested in doing. I just don't know how that works with, if I'm paying a fee for just a referral agreement there, and how does that look if I'm still active in Texas?
So the referral agreements are all case by case, right? You find an agent, you negotiate a deal. That doesn't change. Because you're active in Texas, you have to cover and keep up with Texas no matter what. It does give you the ability to keep an active license in Louisiana if you have the purpose of using that active license in the future. If you don't, then you don't need it and then let it go and suspend it. If you think you'll use it in the future, this is an option for you to reduce your costs, get out of the associations. You still got to do continuing ed, but you no longer have to keep up with the associations and the Supra and the MLS. All those fees and stuff go away.
Okay. Well, as far as you mentioned, $50 a month.
Yes.
for-
So I don't know how it works if you have an active $85 a month membership, and so you're not paying like $170 a month right now, right? You're just paying $85, right?
Yeah, just for both states. But that was really what I'm trying to understand is, would I be paying $50 there and then, the
No,
85
because then you'd be paying more than you're paying now. So I would call your state broker room in Louisiana. I know you love those guys. And have just see if that's something, or you can try to talk to the commercial guy in Texas and see if they can kind of tell you, how would that look like for someone that has a license there? I'm looking to possibly just go ahead and leaving it active, but I want to cut all those expenses because I don't want to be actively doing real estate there that way.
Yeah.
So interesting option for you. It's about as far as I can answer, but that's an interesting option. Hey, we all need to congratulate James. You just got married. How about that? Big day, yep. And he missed a party over getting married.
Yeah, I bought a house too, so
Oh
it's
my goodness.
all in a matter of time. So thank
Look
you.
at that smile.
Setting up. I got a chore list.
Yep. Your location looks different, so you're already in a different location because you usually have
Yeah.
your golden things in the bag. Yeah, you'll get all that set up, I'm sure.
Yeah, we planned a wedding, bought a house, then got married and moved all within like 3 weeks. So, well, the planning was like a year. So we're glad it's over.
Awesome. Congratulations.
Thank you.
So for those of you, I invited a few of you to jump in because I know you're not actively selling. I'm going to conclude the EXP referral program part. So if you guys are good, you can jump off, you can stay on, it didn't bother me. We're going to move on to the last part of the meeting. I know Nikki was brought up a topic. She says, buyer agents know your CFPB time limits. She's sending me code. I don't know what that means. I'm hoping she can explain what CFPB means. Nikki, the floor is yours. See what you got.
So the CFPB is something, I don't even remember what it stands for, but it's like consumer, it's basically consumer, like protecting your consumer, protecting the buyer. So when you go under contract, you have to know, obviously you have to know like when your option period ends, when your third party financing ends, when you need to have appraisal in by, and CFPB, those are I guess that's the agency that regulates everything. So I've always known what CFPB, like the generalized thought of what it is, but like whenever somebody says CFPB, it's like, oh. So basically it's just the agency that keeps track of like all your time limits, time restrictions. So I have a spreadsheet when I go under contract for my buyer. I have a spreadsheet. I enter all these dates, like the executed date, how many days we get per option, what's the dates for final approval on third-party financing, and it generates or populates the dates that we have to have everything in by. Depending on the buyer, if they're like kind of squirrely with me, I actually have them sign it. I don't know if I'm allowed to do that because the spreadsheet actually came from my last brokerage, but I think it's a very good tool to use just to make sure that you're compliant and you represent your client correctly and effectively. You'd hate to sacrifice their earnest money because you didn't keep track of your time restrictions or your time limits. So it's just a good, helpful tool. I know that there's a lot of question, like whenever you go under contract, if your option period ends at 5 o'clock or if it ends at 11:59, and what happens if it's over the weekend and stuff like that. So the spreadsheet takes all that into account. So, and it outlines it to where a layman can understand it. So us as realtors should be able to navigate the spreadsheet pretty easily. But those time restrictions are very vital in the transaction and making sure you know how to represent your buyer effectively and to protect their interests, their earnest money and stuff like that.
Yeah, so you're responsible and accountable to failures in that area. Is that kind of where you're coming from as far as the timelines and stuff like that? You have responsibility there.
Yeah, because sometimes I get a lot of questions about, well, option period is such and such date. Does it end at 5 o'clock? Does it end at 11:59? What happens if the buyer didn't, like if we're representing the seller, what happens if the buyer didn't deliver their option money within 3 days? I've had to go round and round with listing agents because they don't want to, they want to ignore the fact, or buyer's agents rather, they want to ignore the fact that, oh, well, we didn't deliver the option money, but we can still terminate. And it's like, no, read your 1 to 4. It specifically says if you don't deliver it, you cannot terminate based on that. So knowing the CFPB guidelines, it's like a protection, I think it's like Consumer Financial Protection Bureau or something like that. I'll probably be way off on it, but it's basically to protect the consumer, your client.
Okay.
And I can send you the spreadsheet, Sean, if you wanted to share it, because like I said, you just plug in some dates and according to your contract, what it says, whether it's 5 days, 7 days, 10 days for your option, whether it's 14 or 21 days for your third-party financing final approval. And you just plug in certain things and it populates everything for you. And then you can just mark your calendar.
I think the point is that we have accountability there. We may not know it, and most people probably aren't educated enough to pursue it in the event you fail. But it's good to know. If it's something that, you can post it in Workplace, that'd be fine. In our shared drive and just say, hey, here's a good place to go. You can punch in the numbers. A lot of us use contract to close coordinators. They keep up with a lot of these dates. But for you as an agent, you should know responsibility for, when the dates and when they expire and when we need to make sure those things are taken care of. I like it. That is a real good notice. Anything else, Nikki, you got? Or anyone have any questions for Nikki?
Not on that regard, because like I said, it's pretty self-explanatory, and it's hard to mess it unless you put the wrong dates or the wrong number of days. I mean, it's pretty foolproof.
All right, awesome. All right, the next thing I wanted to go through is we're going to go back to the life cycle of the client, but we're going to be focused on sellers. Like before, I took us through buyers. I think right now, sellers is going to be the hot topic for most of us. We're looking for, just like we wanted sellers back in the day. Most of us would prefer to have listings. I can tell you, from selling real estate, you make more money on the sales side than you do on the buy side generally because of the amount of time and opportunity, right? It takes you less actual work time. And by selling, you typically have more opportunities. You get buyer leads and you've got the actual seller needing to buy. So if we can, we always want to focus on getting all the listings that we can. So I'm going to walk us through a life cycle of the client. And this comes from an Icon meeting I went to a couple of years ago. They had a lot of good notes on working with and finding sellers. The first one is our intro to seller. And I'm gonna give you some guys opportunities to kind of jump in here and give me some thoughts of what you experience. Doing open houses, you guys ever knock on doors? Has anyone ever done that? You go to an open house, you knock on all the doors in the area.
Yes.
What's that look like?
So I did 5 this way, 5 that way, 5 this way, and 5 that way. And I would hand out a flyer and inform them, hey, I'm going to have, usually I do it a couple days before open house. I'm going to have an open house here on Saturday or Sunday. I just want to provide a flyer in case you know somebody, maybe a relative that wants to move into the area, be close to your family like you. And here's a flyer if they're interested. And I'll be here on Saturday or Sunday, whatever the day and time is.
Okay. James says he knocks on everybody's door and he loves that part of it.
Absolutely not.
Tell me about it, James. You don't knock on any, you don't do any ringing doorbells. You just do an open house, get in and out.
I do the open house. I personally have not, knocked on any doors because I do not feel comfortable doing that. Just, my preference. And so I've tried to do, online marketing, ahead of time in the area. That's worked for me in the past, but as far as door knocking, it's just not my thing.
Okay. Mama, I know you said you do door knocking. What do you do?
Yeah, actually I have these little door hangers. And if it's in my area, I'll have time to go and hang it like a couple of hours before the open house. So I don't really knock on doors, but I put the little hangers on the doors and it's information about the house, inviting them to the open house. Or if I see them out, I just let them know I'm a realtor and introduce myself and that they're welcome to come check out the open house, because a lot of times the neighbors, and when I do that, I do get at least 1 or 2 neighbors, because I put it like, just come see it. Everybody wants to see the house, right? Especially if there's been some renovation going on, you get a lot more neighbors. But again, it's just, you learn information about the neighborhood so you can share it with other buyers. I ask them questions just like they ask me questions, and they may know people. So yeah, that's the way I handle it. I'm not as comfortable actually knocking on the door, but I have done it, but I wasn't as comfortable. So I made these little door hangers up.
And it's a good opportunity if you do get somebody to open the door and inform them of the upcoming open house, to probe. I've probed a lot of homeowners. Well, how long have you lived in the area? Is it a quiet area? Do you like it? Would you move? I mean, I get all up in their business.
Anybody killed in the neighborhood? Any crime? Any selling drugs here?
That's what I'm trying to stay away from.
James wants to stay away from it. All right. Very good. It's funny, going way back, years back, I used to train some in open houses. I didn't do a whole lot of hands-on training, but I did. My mom was there with Tom Schmirk. Rest in peace. He actually ended up passing away suddenly. But Tom was a mortgage guy, loan officer, and lender partner, one of my lender partners. And we went in there and we got no activity. It was a house that I flipped, 0 activity. No one showed up except for the neighbors. And I knocked on, and I showed them, I knocked on all the doors, and we got, I think 2 or 3 people came over, and they were only neighbors. No one else showed up. But, it's just exposure. It's an opportunity to create that. They're a warm market to me. They live in the area for a reason, and they're going to know people that they would like to invite to come see the house, that would like for them to move into the area and the neighborhood. I feel like they're a good source for that. That's kind of the way I think about it. But you do have that risk, you'll get shot too. So keep that in mind. I got to give you the downside too, right? All right. Motivation. We talked about this before. When you're working with somebody that's looking to sell, do they want more money or do they want less stress? We can offer some really good solutions. Wanting more money, Curbio is still a real good option for you guys if the home needs some mild updates. And they can do major as well. And if they're serious about selling, they can attach it to the closing disclosure at the end, and they don't even come out of pocket for it. So they can take Curbio, put $20,000 into their house, make 30, 35 back, and then they pay that 20 at closing out of their proceeds. So they get to keep that net difference. Good option for that. Less stress. We have cash offers. We have several cash offer opportunities. The home needs quite a bit of work. You might want to just reach out to me, and I'll show you some options that you can go through in order to have that work for you. Be an expert with your preparation materials, statistics, marker. A lot of you I know are big preparers for when you go into those opportunities and meetings. I'm terrible at coaching on specifics because I tend to wing most of my stuff, and that's not duplicatable always. I do think that is in your best interest to know the neighborhood, have actual homes to talk in a conversation, because they're going to want to say, well, my house is worth X, then say, great, I think it's worth a lot more. I just have to have 5 buyers agree with me. In order for them to agree with me, they're going to see this house, and this house tells me your house is worth Y, and there's ways to have those kind of conversations with them. Being prepared and having that information and being ready to have those conversations is going to give you a better chance for sure. Stay in front of potential sellers. They have these postcard systems, and I think I've talked about it before. We have this API handwritten notes. KV Core Marketplace has a link in there that you can go on and send out cards or API handwritten cards. It's in the marketplace. You can go on there. You can see the little logo, click on it, and they're handwritten cards out to those people. You can do just listed. You can do just sold, whatever, those type of things. They resonate with people if they're in the mode of looking at making a move. It's a real good opportunity for you to get in front of them. It is not the cheapest option. It can be pretty expensive to be able to set up and do that, but they do have a powerful connection with the people there, because they'll at least, a lot of times they'll at least give you a shot. right? Most of us just want to have at bats. This allows you to have an additional at bat. Don't change your process, even if it's a family member or friend. This was advice that was given, at that meeting. A lot of us, want to treat friends and family and things like that differently than maybe we do other clients. And it's important for you to think about them as just keep the process, because you don't want to short them what you're giving everyone else, right? You want to give them the same type of service and everything that you provide to your other clients, even if when you're doing it, you might offer them some type of discount or whatever you work out with them. Keep in mind, doing the entire process, the entire system is still important. It makes you on track. It keeps you consistent, and you're not shorting them anything that you would give to somebody else. Let's see, connect with referrals within 15 minutes with a video text. Any of you ever send out a video text as a warm introduction? Any of you do that? I know it seems a little awkward. I have some people that I've connected with that's what they do all the time. Sometimes it's a lot, but at least it puts a face, an experience with that connection, and it does create a very warm connection that way. I've used this all the time. I coach all of you guys the same thing. Whenever someone comes up with a opportunity, hey, my friend's looking at selling a house, or they're looking at buying a house, they're moving into the area, whatever it is, I always encourage them, if you don't mind, send me a group text introduction to them. Call them, get permission, whatever. If you can do that, your chances of connecting with them are like 10, 20 times better. They'll at least connect with you. They may not be willing to buy or sell today. They may not go with you, but it really creates a real strong opportunity for you to at least get in front of them and have a conversation. If you don't ever have that conversation, or I tell you the worst one, I hate when this happens. Hey, you may get a call from X. I sent them your contact info. They're never going to call me. Don't do that. If you don't mind, do you mind sending them a group text introduction? Because when you do that, it opens approval for both sides to be able to make the connection. Huge, huge upside. And you want to do that fast. Anytime someone says someone's looking or doing something, I connect with them right away. I mean, they say 15 minutes, send them a video text. I think that's a pretty cool option. I immediately respond to them, and I already start building what they're wanting to see. And then I start adding value right away. Very important. If they're not ready today, I put them on my calendar to come back to. KV Core has easy, calendar links and stuff like that to be able to connect with them later. Be sure to thank the person that referred you. Make sure, send them a gift card, do something. Make sure they are aware that you saw what they did for you, and you're really appreciative of the fact that they thought of you. Even if it doesn't turn into an opportunity or a sale, they still thought of you, right? Most people do not do that part. I think that's a really, really hot item to do. People, hot sellers, property report dropped off by the title partner. So this is kind of a national thing. They have title companies that will prepare for property reports and extra detail. Even if it doesn't come from you, you initiated it. It shows that you've got a team ready to solve and answer problems from them. That's kind of another step up from what the traditional, agents out there are doing. I think doing that would be really clever. Schedule a free termite report. That's something that's probably not as critical here. That's something that you could, I think you can get them done for $75, $100. I don't remember, but doing that in an area or a house that might be of real benefit. I know there's probably areas that do. I would probably rather schedule a free contractor consultant where they come by and they give you estimates on things. I think that is a real easy thing to do, to repair some things or do that. I think that's a direction that I prefer versus the free termite report. Let's send out a contractor, get some estimates on repairs. That's a value add for the seller. And then they can decide, do I do it or do I list it as is? Email comps with a video of you going over each comp. Again, that's another elevated step up. So we turn on the camera. I've got my comps printed out. I'm going through them. I said, hey, I'm just going to look at 3 comps real quick. Your house is this. It's this year build, this square footage. Right now, I've got one I'm competing with. That's this and this. And the finish out's really nice. that probably puts us around 360. This next one probably puts us around 370. And then you kind of go through it, walking them through it on a video consultation. You can get it done in 5 minutes. I think would be incredibly valuable, very specific to their needs and what they're wanting to do. I think that can really send a powerful message. Again, these are really clever things that a lot of us kind of overlook, or we try to either get too economized or simple. I think if you had a video sent to someone that told them about their house and their comps, showing credibility and knowledge, I got to think that they would at least consider having you come out and do an in-person presentation or whatnot. And then add their email to your audience in Facebook. So Facebook allows you to add people you're connected with into an audience that your ads and things go out to. Definitely want to make sure they're included in KV Core. Any questions on that initial intro to connecting and working with sellers? All right, awesome. Last thing I've got is, anyone have a agent scenario or transaction question? You there, Tara? Did you work through yours?
Oh, ours is so fun. Now we've got the seller's agent. We were going through SkyScope, getting everything in, and they asked that I redo the contract, and with her little special provision, do an amendment instead. So I was like, okay. So I called her kind of with like a positive, and I was like, hey, we're not going to ask for anything on the inspection report change. You know, we get it. We're, you know, he's going to have things planned for the future. However, I'm going to change, you know, recontract, and just all I'm doing is putting that special provision in the amendment. She goes, okay, cool, just send it over. And I was like, okay. 20 minutes later, I get a phone call. My broker said, we will not accept a change. Okay, well, my broker's the one that asked for it. So Joey has had a call in with a Texas broker, and he's supposed to be getting back to me today about how it's going to work. And this was supposed to close the 21st.
Okay, let me catch up, everyone. So the seller, they took a lower offer, it was a VA buyer, and the lower offer, the condition they made is that any lender required repairs the seller would not take care of. And they put that on special provisions within the contract. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay. And and I told you that's a terrible idea, because you've got lenders involved, you got title involved, you got all these people involved in this as a condition of, you know, have you had an appraisal yet?
It's going to happen tomorrow. And
I mean,
that's the appraisal is where she's stripping.
It is. I mean, that's the make or break, right? So we've already agreed to it.
Yeah.
But the problem is that it creates additional conditions and liabilities for everybody. And I'm sure the EXP broker doesn't like, you know, having that provision in there. Having it on the amendment restricts it between the buyer and the seller is what we're looking for. That way we can work it out between the buyer and seller. We don't attach all these other people. So that's an interesting scenario. I'm not obviously a broker, so I can't get in and tell you, but I can tell you why and where of what they're trying to do. And setting that up originally was going to create a problem from the beginning. So interesting that their broker would prefer to keep that in the transaction. It's going to create more problems.
Yeah,
very good.
I'm a little worried. My buyer's out a lot of money, so.
Yeah. Look at that baby sleeping sound. I love it.
She's got an ear infection.
Oh no. Happy baby. Thank you, Tara. Anyone else have a scenario? Anyone getting sued? No one else getting in trouble on the call? You guys are staying above. All right. Anyone have a house coming up? Want to promote, share, open house, whatever?
I have my condo on Melody Lane. Buyers backed out last minute, so now it's back on the market.
So is this the one where the seller died?
Yes.
Okay. I tell you, man, some crazy stuff. So he lists this property. The seller, it was an older man, elder, and he was moving into his more long-term facility. And I think he'd already moved out, but sometime there, shortly after getting it active on the market, he passed away. And the real estate was for sale, but it wasn't cleanly defined in a will or anything. So it became a problem. You know, they all knew he was selling, but that means that now they have to involve attorneys and get clear language to get approval to sell. Where did you end up with all that?
Probate is almost finished. We had a buyer, just like a few days after he passed away, and he go ahead. Sorry, he basically had everything set up, and then the executor to the will had to go through probate and get the basically letters of testamentary to be allowed to sign for things. We had the buyer, they decided to wait and hold on. They were like, cool, it's a full price offer. It was a cash offer. Awesome. But at the last minute, the buyer decided to, no, I'm going to use the money and go back to school.
So my advice to Shane at the time was to offer them the ability to give the buyer the opportunity to terminate. And I did do this intentionally. And the reason why we set it up this way is to keep the buyer on the hook as a full price cash offer. And I wanted to make sure they were comfortable staying on indefinitely at that point. And the second reason is we had a clouded title. I couldn't sell to anyone else. So I wasn't losing any market time. So my suggestion is just to hang on, leave them there and hope that they'll hang on all the way until probate. You know, so he was able to get through probate by, you know, showing people that knew him, could sign testimonial and all this kind of stuff just to get it cleared. So they stayed on all the way through that and then they changed their mind. So, I mean, it's inevitable. It could happen. You know, that's the risk we take. You know, unfortunately, he's now having to go back to the market with this, but at least now he has a clear title and now we can pursue active buyers without the issue or close to having a clear title. So interesting scenario. Anyone else have a quick scenario before we go to houses? All right, I've got a new listing coming up. We did the one last week, Heather Glen and Mesquite, 330,000. That one's available. Great looking house, available for open house, available for whatever you guys want to do with it. And again, it's 3316 Heather Glen. It's a big house in that little neighborhood, very low price. So it should be a really good option for any of you that wants to work that one. I've got one in Grand Prairie, roughly 255-ish. It's the price range I set a long time ago, and that's including going up, and then down a little bit. And now I think it's probably pretty steady. I've got a house in Grand Prairie on Marshall, again, 255,000. That one had a 1 bath. I think we ended up adding a second full bath, and it's ready to go live the end of this week. So that one will be available, should be by the end of the week for open house. All right. Anyone else have a house or anything they want to share?
This is Melinda. I have a house on 1805 Jack Casey Court in Dallas, Texas, 75217. It is looks like a rental property, or a first-time home buyer property. It is in a cul-de-sac. It does not have a garage. 1,200 square feet, built in 2005. All the big ticket items such as roof, foundation, HVAC, everything is in good standing, is in good shape. Sellers, when I spoke with them originally, we agreed to list it on the market at like 215, and by the time we put it on the market, they already wanted to go up to like 230. I was able to talk them down to they've talked them down 5K at 225, but so far we've only had like 2 showings. And it's been on the market for like 10 days. So trying to figure out a way to.
What's the address, Melinda? 1805?
1805 Jack Casey Court. Dallas, Texas.
Yeah.
And so it's been about 10 or 11 days and had to sit down with them to let them know what's going on. Yeah, that's it. And they feel as though they still can get that price, even though we originally agreed to like 215 from the jump.
Yeah.
It's rent ready, let's just put it that way. But they don't want to necessarily make any repairs. The only repair that they told me about was there is a plumbing issue in one of the bathrooms with the I would say walk-in shower. The plumbing for that shower needs to be fixed. Other than that, everything else is in great standing condition, but I'm just trying to pretty much put a number in front of them or offer in front of them so they can be realistic.
Very good. Thank you, Melinda, for sharing that. So it's available for open house if somebody wants to work it?
Correct. It's available for open house. It's vacant. It's ready to go. Mom passed away, so the children are selling it. So it will be in the estate of, and they've already got the affidavits of airships and everything completed and with the city.
Very good. Anyone else have a house they want to share? All right, guys, that's all I've got for this week. I will let you know if we do one next week. Our school is out, so there's a chance I may take the next 2 weeks off because I'll have all my kids home. So I'll let you know, look for it in workplace. And thank you for some of you new people jumping in. Hope you guys have a high performance week. And if you don't hear from me before then, you guys have a great Merry Christmas. Thank you, guys.